Every organization, church, or family, all these organizations and groups, they need leaders. Why? Because leaders are chosen by God to guide the organization to wherever God wants it to go. And always remember, and this is lesson 4 of our lay leadership development program entitled Becoming a Relevant Leader in the 21st Century. So as I've said earlier, every organization needs a leader. Why? Because the leader not only guides, but the leader defines its organization. So if you are a leader in your home, then you define your home. If you are a leader in the community, then you define them. If you're a leader in the church, you define them. But what does it mean? So whatever your character, whatever your behavior, whatever your desires, will surely be an influential thing, so factors to the group. So, for example, if you are a pastor, but coming from the youth, and you are musically minded, I assure you, your church will become youth-oriented and musically influenced also. So therefore, the pastor is very important. The leader is very important. The father is very important. Now let's center on the leadership of the church. The leader, not necessarily the pastor, everyone who is called by God to be the leader is very important. They play a major role in the organization of the church. Because whoever you are and whatever you are, you will surely define your organization, your church. That's why we need to understand the 21st century. We need to understand how to become a relevant leader in the 21st century. So that we can answer the questions like, how can we benefit from the old system and achieve our vision without getting lost in the complexities of the 21st century? Remember, the 21st century is completely different from the old. So if we will lead our church or whatever organization you are leading, and if you are still using the backward things that are not suitable anymore for the modern days, then you will become irrelevant. So how can we now be a relevant leader? First, you must seize opportunities that are identifiable. Those opportunities that are not identifiable, you must also learn and seize it. Because there are so many opportunities that comes our way, and some of those are not seen, they're not identifiable. And so, if you want to be a leader, what do you need to do? First, seize the opportunities that you have. Second, understand whether the leader is born or made. We have seen people who were born leader, but it is not a strong it's not a strong message that we need to learn from, because leaders, there are so many leaders that were not born leader. I've seen so many leaders that were so weak, that were so meek, they were not even in the front, they're always at the back. But the later days, they became good leaders. So, leaders, and I would like you to discuss this in your group. Ask yourself, are leaders born or made? And I would like you to submit your answer. This will be your first examination. Submit to me your debates. One, you divide your group into two. One is leaders are born, one leaders are made. So, but I'm not going to give you whether it is born or made. But I have seen so many born leaders, and I've also seen so many made leaders, meaning they started very weak, but because they trained, like you. I've seen and I've known so many of you, and you were not leaders before this, but now you are training, and hopefully you will become a leader one day. And so, remember always that we need to understand the symbiotic and not competitors. Symbiotic is a cooperative relationship between the groups that work with and depend on each other. And that is symbiotic. So, nagkakaroon kayo ng cooperation with one another. So, if you are the leader, don't be the boss, don't be a dictator. Work with the people. And that is very important. And so, let us now take a look at the definition of leadership. John Maxwell defines leadership as influence. But influence is a short definition of a leadership. But you cannot remove influence if you are defining leadership, because when you lead, you influence the people. As I've said earlier, the leader defines the group. Kung ikaw ay musician, singer, sabi ko kanina, surely your people will be singing and singing every time. And if you are an outreach-oriented leader, then I believe you will always go out, retreat, picnic, and so on. And Robert Clinton wrote this: a Christian leader is a person with a God-given capacity and a God-given responsibility to influence all a specific group of God's people toward God's purpose for the group. Now, let us take a look at this one by one. First, we are talking here of Christian leader. Now, if you are using this video in a non-Christian setting, you just remove the word Christian and just use leader. But for this purpose, we are talking to Christian leaders, not necessarily pastors, not necessarily elders or council members, but all church members are leaders. So, what are you in your church? Are you leading people or not? Or are you being led? Now, first, Christian leader. Now, you have to define what is a Christian and what is a leader. And a Christian leader possesses a God-given capacity. So don't say, wala akong alam, hindi ko kaya yan. I don't know anything. I don't have power. Right? You don't have power. But God has given you capacity, authority, and power to lead. So, it's all right to say, I don't know what to do. That's right even. Because if you don't know what to do, then God will teach you what to do. He will give you the capacity. And second, God will give you a God-given responsibility. Now, what does it mean? As a leader, you will carry the load. You will carry the responsibility. But don't make mistake. When Moses was leading the people, he was visited by his father-in-law Jethro. And Jethro said, Moses, you're killing yourself. Now, just look for the verse. I'm not going to give it to you here. But look for that passage where Jethro counseled Moses. And he said, what you're doing is not right. You are killing yourself. Delegate the responsibilities to others. Now, relevant leaders, they know how to delegate. They don't behave like they are the Superman, they are the superhero. Oh, they are killing themselves. A leader who does not know how to delegate is going to die. He will lose his leadership and die. Why? Because he will weary himself out, and one day he will lose all the abilities God has given him, and he will just surrender. And I've seen so many. Marami na akong nakita mga leader na after a while, di ko na kaya. Sorry, pagod na ako. Well, siyempre, na-burn out. But personally, I don't believe in burnout. Because if you know how to manage your time, if you know your calling, if you know who called you, God will not let you be burned out. Because God has given us time to reflect, time to be with Him, time for a Sabbath. So therefore, in leadership, you must also have the time for God. You will not give all your time to the people because you will lose it one day. But God never will leave you. And so, have time with God as you lead. And leadership implies collective actions. So in other words, the leader, the follower, they go together. The leader cannot work alone and succeed. That is the most impossible thing. So if you are a leader and you don't know how to delegate, gusto mo ikaw lang lahat ang gagawa, mahiro-hiro ka, and then you will die. But you need to understand that it is God who works in you so that you can be a good leader. Relevant. And so, every Christian is a de facto leader, meaning, de facto, hindi po impacto, de facto. It is a Latin phrase that talks about legal concept used to refer to what happens in reality or in practice. So makikita mo anong nangyayari sa practice or reality as opposed to the jury. Ano naman ito? The jury from the law. And so, tayo po, de facto leader because we see what is being practiced, we see what God is doing. And of course, we also understand the law. But we are not so tied up with the law because it is God that gives us the direction. And so, if you want to be a relevant leader, the third, identify all the opportunities that are available. It is just a matter of discovering and maximizing it so that you can materialize your goal. And I will cut this part, but I will continue within the next video. Now, I would like you to answer this clearly, and I would like you to answer this. Group yourselves in the ministry as a leader. As a leader, we're talking as a leader. First question, what is the best question to ask? So group yourselves and ask this question. First, what can we do together to lead? Do together to lead. Second, what can I do to lead? The third, what are the needs of the people? And the fourth, what can I hope God will do tomorrow? And the last, what is God doing today? Now, all these questions are very good, but they must be answered by the leader, a servant leader for that matter, so that you can be a relevant and sustainable leader. Now, I would like you to submit this to the office, the answer of your group. Choose which is the best and the first question that you need to ask as a leader. I hope I can give you the answer, but that will defeat the purpose of this video. And so, I will see you again in our next video, and hopefully you have the answer to this. God bless you, and I will continue this lesson in our next video. God bless.